Night falls, and the vast land is swallowed in a cold, dark veil. On my shoulders rests not only a rifle, but also the responsibility of protecting the harvest and the peace of the villagers. Every step into the darkness carries a firm resolve to eliminate the destroyers of our crops. This is not just an ordinary hunt. It is a battle between humans and ferocious beasts. Every gunshot fired is not only meant to bring down prey, but also serves as a solid knife to protect every inch of land, every drop of sweat shed by the farmers. And so begins the relentless journey between man and wild beasts. The night has fully descended, and the sky is blanketed in a heavy gray-black shroud. In the distance, the wild boars still run chaotically, defying the constant gunfire. I grit my teeth, pull the trigger, bang, the third shot rings out, and the last target collapses onto the ground. I exhale in relief as my teammate offers encouragement, yet deep down, I still feel my responsibility is not fully complete. And so, a challenging journey begins for our hunting team. The darkness deepens, making it harder and harder to see. I take a deep breath, focusing all my attention. Many bullets are fired, yet the task is tougher than expected. The herd scatters wildly, making it nearly impossible to keep track. We decide to move closer to the target, unleashing a barrage of bullets. The desperate cries of the wild boars echo, but they refuse to surrender. I can't help but exclaim, "These boars are far more stubborn than I thought," but not even that could shake our team's determination. Up ahead, the boars cluster in groups. I hold my breath, aiming at the largest one. 3, 2, 1. The countdown rings in my head, followed by a decisive volley of gunfire. The herd scatters, some already collapsing before the barrel of my rifle. In that moment, I realize each shot is not just a kill, it is a vow to protect the crops, to defend the sweat of the people. As the smoke clears, all that remains is the cold echo of the night, reminding me that this journey is far from over. The night fades, opening a new chapter under the pale winter light. With clearer visibility, the hunt becomes somewhat easier. Suddenly, a shadow charges straight at me. It's the destroyer itself, a wild boar. Quick-witted, I grip my rifle tightly and pull the trigger without hesitation. Bang! Bang! One shot, then two, then three. The target finally surrenders, collapsing before the rifle's deadly power. The prey tumbles to the ground, as if accepting that its destructive deeds have come at a price. The journey continues to another part of the field where the grass grows thicker, a perfect hiding place for wild beasts. Spotting a target, I move in silently, then strike fast. Boom! A single decisive shot. So swift that the boar has no time to react before it falls. Tell me, don't you think that shot deserves some praise? Share your thoughts. I'd be thrilled to hear your feedback. We keep tracking along the edges of the wheat field. Another target comes into sight. I hold my breath, pull the trigger, and it drops immediately under the precision of my shot. John and I exchange a look of relief. The mission is nearly complete. This victory is not just about taking down a beast, but about protecting the harvest and preserving the villagers' peace. A grueling journey comes to a close with long, relieved breaths. After countless rounds of gunfire, after tense, breathless minutes, the journey finally ends in well-earned victories. One by one, the wild beasts fall, leaving behind fields of safety and renewed trust. The hunt may have ended, but its echo lingers in every heartbeat, every memory. Leave a comment, hit like, and share your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our next thrilling adventures. Wild boars, creatures once thought to lurk only in deep forests, have now invaded the plains, causing unimaginable damage. They not only destroy crops, but also leave villagers living in fear as night falls. Faced with this crisis, what will farmers and hunters do to reclaim peace? Join us in a heart-pounding pursuit where the line between man and beast is drawn by a single gunshot. First, join us as we step into the chilly night of rural America, where giant wild boars exploit the cover of darkness to ravage fields and livestock pens. Guns, thermal binoculars, infrared lights. Everything has been meticulously prepared for a heart-pounding hunt under the moonlight. We drove for about an hour to reach the hunting area. The silence was eerie and unsettling. From a distance, a herd of beasts was quietly tearing through a cornfield. I quickly raised my rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The gunshot shattered the night's silence. One boar was hit and collapsed to the ground. The rest scattered in panic, fleeing in all directions. missing the opportunity, we decided to track down the surviving boars. A target was spotted. Swiftly raising my rifle, I pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the bullet echoed through the silent night. One beast collapsed, motionless on the cold grass. The night hunt concluded with victory for the season hunters. After a tense night, the first light of dawn dispelled the darkness. Seizing the moment, we swiftly moved up the mountain for a daytime hunt, where the prey roams actively under the radiant sunlight. Join us as we continue this thrilling pursuit of the beasts. Silently weaving through dense bushes, a dark shadow suddenly darted out in front of me. Reacting in a split second, I raised my rifle and fired. The blast echoed through the mountains and forest. The beast struck squarely in its midsection. It collapsed onto the dry ground, thrashing briefly before gradually losing its ability to resist. The gunshot shattered the silence, sending the surrounding wild boars into chaos. The frantic barking of hunting dogs signaled the presence of other prey. As expected, a group of wild boars was hiding, hoping to evade my rifle. Without hesitation, I swiftly raised my gun and locked on the target. A clean shot rang out, and the lead boar was hit, collapsing in the middle of the forest without making a sound. As we descended the mountain, we encountered stray boars from the herd busily foraging. Aiming from a distance, I fired a single shot at the target. It collapsed and lay still instantly. The remaining boar fled in panic, leaving behind an eerily silent scene. The daytime hunt concluded with the giant beast herd as the defeated. Today's journey of night and day hunting has come to a close. From the silent darkness to the radiant daylight, each moment brought its own challenges. But with seamless coordination and precise shots, we emerged victorious. Everything was conducted in legal areas and in compliance with regulations. For decades, wild boar have been a nightmare for farmers in the southern United States. They don't just destroy crops, trampling entire rows right before harvest, they also attack livestock, and at times even pose a deadly threat to humans. Their growing presence has turned once peaceful farmlands into places of constant unease. That's why we decided to embark on this hunt, not only to control the population of these destructive creatures, but also to protect the piece of the land we call home. Will today's journey bring the results we hope for? Let's find out together. We set out in the team leader's Ford F-150 under the cover of darkness. When the tires stopped at the edge of the field, the headlights went out completely. The team moved quietly along narrow trails, guided only by faint beams from our flashlights. The night hunt had begun. Through the dim shadows of the field, the scope revealed a herd of wild boar busily tearing up the soil in search of food. I shouldered my rifle, picked the largest one, and squeezed the trigger. The gunshot shattered the silence of the night. It dropped instantly. The herd panicked, scattering in all directions. Without wasting a second, my teammates and I swung our barrels and kept firing, bringing down the remaining targets, one by one. As the echoes faded, only the sound of heavy breathing and the faint smell of gunpowder lingered in the cool night air. We spread out again, scanning the fields for more prey. It wasn't long before dark shapes emerged, a few lone boars digging quietly in the dirt. We moved into position, rifle steady. Bang, bang, bang. Sharp cracks rang out from multiple directions. Each shot found its mark. Every target went down instantly. Within seconds, the stillness returned to endless darkness. Moving deeper in, the sweep of our flashlight beams caught another herd feeding in an open patch. I picked my target and fired. The boar collapsed, thrashing briefly in vain. The noise sent the rest scattering, leaving behind only the torn earth where they'd been feeding. After a relentless night of pursuit, we kept tracking hoof prints and freshly dug soil. As the first light of dawn spread, we decided to change course, heading toward another field. One local said the boar often raided. We were crossing an open patch when a loud rustling erupted from a large clump of brush, as if something was tearing the ground apart. My teammate raised his hand, signaling us to stop, his eyes locked on the shadows ahead. Then, suddenly, a massive boar burst out, charging forward with the force of an arrow. Without hesitation, Nick, already locked onto the target, squeezed the trigger. The crack of the rifle split the still morning air. The beast staggered, skidded forward, and collapsed face first into the damp soil. Moments later, the frantic barking of hunting dogs echoed from a distance, urgent and relentless, a sure sign of an intruder. We rushed toward the sound. From a thick patch of grass, the huge boar suddenly bolted out. But it had no way out. With my rifle ready, I aimed and fired. The animal froze mid-stride and dropped in the middle of the path. What do you think of that moment? Let us know in the comments. Exhausted from the all-night chase, we climbed into the Ford F-150 to head home. As we crossed an open strip of field, a sudden scene unfolded ahead. The hunting dogs were in full pursuit of a massive dark figure. The beast charged straight toward our vehicle. Without hesitation, my teammate flung open the door, jumped down, and took aim. Just as the boar lowered its head to strike, the shot rang out, stopping it in its tracks. It dropped motionless. The team burst out laughing, shaking off the fatigue still clinging from the night before.
Olha isso, galera!
The hunt ended in triumph and pride, with every intense moment against these monsters of nature captured perfectly on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. We confirmed that all activities strictly followed local hunting regulations, helping protect both crops and the livelihoods of the people here. If you enjoy thrilling journeys like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can join us on our next hunt.
Three, two, bang. Bang.
In the quiet darkness of the night, Max and his cousin Chris Robinson silently advanced into the familiar field where giant wild boars frequently roamed. These destructive pests had become a nightly nightmare, relentlessly invading and ravaging crops without mercy. Despite numerous hunts, the boar population continued to grow, forcing them to persistently confront the challenge. Join us to follow this thrilling night hunt. As soon as they set foot on the field, the group swiftly executed their plan, placing a speaker emitting sounds at a strategic location. Moments later, the recorded squeals of wild boars echoed, drawing the attention of others nearby. Curious, the boars cautiously approached, lured by the sound of their kind in the dark night. Though typically vigilant, the cover of darkness seemed to dull their senses, with some unable to resist their instincts and charging toward the sound. Max's scope quickly locked onto the largest boar, the one reacting most intensely to the speaker's call. His heart raced as he waited for the perfect moment, and when the boar paused, a fatal shot ended its hopes of escape. The boar collapsed to the ground, marking the first trophy of the night. But the hunt was far from over. The calls continued to echo, and more boars kept charging in. Seizing these precious opportunities, Max took aim and brought down several more from advantageous positions. However, the remaining herd quickly sensed the danger and fled, slipping out of their shooting range. The night hunt still held many challenges ahead. After the initial volley of shots sent the boar herd scattering in panic, they moved along the forest edge, venturing deeper into the field where wild boars often took refuge. This area, adjacent to dense woods, was an ideal spot for more boars to appear. Through the thermal scope, Max spotted a massive wild boar lumbering ahead. Its image was vivid, large, with distinctive black fur, standing out starkly against the pitch-black field. He quietly approached, trying to get as close as possible to ensure a precise shot, but suddenly, the boar seemed to sense his presence. With no other option, Max fired immediately, taking down the destructive beast before it could escape. From a distance, near the forest edge, another boar was foraging. Sensing imminent danger, it bolted at full speed. Max let out a loud shout, startling the boar and causing it to freeze for a moment. In those fleeting seconds, he aimed and took it down with a perfect shot. As the night deepened, the number of boars increased, and they were larger than before. In a moment of exhilaration, Max and Chris fired simultaneously, dropping a boar on the spot. From their advantageous shooting positions, they continued to take down more boars, each gunshot felling another target. The image of crops uprooted and ravaged by wild boars flashed through Max's mind, fueling his determination in this night hunt. The relentless gunfire echoed across the field, signaling a highly successful hunt and a stern warning to the boar herd. Though engrossed in foraging, the wild boar herd remained highly vigilant, sticking close to the forest, ready to dart into hiding at the slightest hint of danger. The group patiently lay in ambush, waiting for the perfect moment to aim at the largest boars. Despite their attempts to flee, it was all in vain. Moving along the field, they spotted a large herd leisurely feeding, completely unaware. This was the perfect opportunity. The two brothers immediately prepared, selecting the most advantageous shooting angles. The gunfire roared, sending the entire herd into a frantic, scattered retreat. The slower boars were quickly taken down, while the faster ones disappeared into the dense forest. But even when hidden behind thickets, the thermoscopes revealed their positions, and they were thoroughly eliminated. Each encounter with a large herd sparked a surge of excitement. Bullets flew relentlessly, with little time for precise aiming, but even stray shots struck the panicking, fleeing boars. In just a few short minutes, the herd was decimated, leaving behind the marks of a successful hunt. Moving closer to the water pools, they were certain the wild boar herd would be there. This was a frequent haunt, with their footprints still etched into the damp ground. Max targeted the largest boar. Both brothers fired simultaneously, then immediately chased after the panicked boars fleeing in disarray. Thanks to the thermal scope, night hunting became easier than ever. The boar's images appeared clearly in the scope, and with the lift of the rifle, Max could take down his prey swiftly. The herd scrambled to escape, unaware that their every movement was tracked and targeted with pinpoint accuracy. The night hunt lasted longer than anticipated, but the constant appearance of boar herds kept them energized, forgetting their fatigue. However, as the night waned, the gunfire grew sparse. It was time for Max to head home, carrying his valuable trophies. Thank you for watching. If you found this exciting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for the next adventures. See you in the upcoming videos.
Shoot 'em.